Hey guys, I'm Badger.
And I'm Condor, and we are Mag.
Here's a video of our little safety brief so you guys can get an idea of how we do things in this community. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Bojo. You might recognize me from such films as Igor and Igor Go to South America, or Igor and Igor Leave South America, or What Am I Doing in These Bushes with This Big Guy? But either way, we're here for the safety briefing and all the rules that follow. Airsoft is a game of honor. Please call all your hits. If you think you're a hit, call it. When calling a hit, make sure that you're saying it loud and clear. Hit, hit, hit! That way everybody around you knows that you've been shot, and hopefully they stop shooting at you. Please keep in mind that if you're in a firefight and you're still getting shot after calling a hit, people probably aren't aiming at you. They're probably aiming at the guy behind you. Stay low, get your red rag out, put your hand up, and get out of the way.
Hit!
So once at respawn, put your red rag away, follow your respawn rules, and then you're allowed to go back out into the game. Please know that dead men tell no tales. They don't speak to other players. They don't give out coordinates of the enemies. They keep their mouths shut. Do not respond to questions when asked. Do not talk to people that are walking onto the field. Go back to the respawn and follow the respawn rules.
What's going on out there?
Dead man.
No, just give me a little info.
Dead man tell no tales.
Any hit on your gear or body counts. So if you're holding your gun up and the gun gets hit, that's a hit. If a BB grazes your head, that's a hit. And if you're hit directly in the chest or the face, that is also a hit. So follow the rules. If you get hit, call it, pull out your red rag, and get back to respawn. Do not call other players' hits. If you think you're hitting somebody and they're not calling it, go to game control. Go to your team lead. Get a description of the person. Make sure that you know who you're talking about so that they know who you're talking about.
Hey, Badger.
Hey, what's up?
I have somebody not calling their hits.
Okay, what do they look like?
He's in M81, and he's carrying an MP5.
Okay.
And he has a boonie hat, but it was ACU for some reason, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll go find him. We'll talk to him. We'll double check and make sure everything's all good.
Sweet.
If you think you're shooting somebody that is at a far distance, but they're not calling it, get closer. Try to move in on them. Get a little bit of tactic. Flank them out. Get to a point where you know for sure that your BBs are hitting them. And if they're not calling it at that point, again, go back to your team lead. Let them know. So let's make sure that we're wearing the proper iPro. So your iPro needs to be ANSI certified or Airsoft rated. They need to be form-fitting, which means they need to be like a fly wraparound. You should not be able to stick your pinky between your glass frame and your face. It should be tight. That way no BBs come in from the sides, no BBs come in from the top. If you're wearing the full-size goggles, that is totally fine as well, as long as it's got a full seal around the outside of it. If the seal's falling apart, if the seal's coming out, get some new iPro. Don't wear those. During gameplay, there could be 3 calls that will put a game to a complete stop. It's like hitting pause on a video game. Nobody moves. Nobody does anything. You stop firing. The first one being ceasefire. A ceasefire is called when there's a civilian on the field, somebody who's not a combatant, somebody who's not part of the game. So if you're playing in an area where there's walking paths, you'll probably run into this problem quite a bit. But if somebody calls that ceasefire, stop what you're doing, point your gun at the ground, stand up and be seen. You don't want these civilians walking by, seeing you wearing full combat fatigues with a gun and startling them. Make sure that they know that you're there. The second one is blind man. Blind man is called when somebody's goggles have broken or are damaged. If you're having a fogging issue, blind man could be called for that as well. Again, with everybody's to stop playing, like hitting pause in a video game, pointing their guns at the ground, standing up to be seen, and then letting the team leads take care of the situation. Sometimes a person just needs to be escorted off the field. Sometimes they might just need a rag to wipe their goggles out with. But it's a safety precaution. We don't want anybody wearing eye patches. The real world medic is a situation where somebody has actually been injured. They've rolled an ankle or they've twisted a knee. When this is called out, stand up, be seen, point your guns down, stay off the radios, and anybody that has been certified as an EMT or first aid, please come to the assistance. Team leads should find out immediately who it is, where they are, pinpoint it on the field. Need to stay off the radios so that they can contact the other EMT and first responders to come and help out. Don't go trying to help if you are not an EMT or first responder. Doesn't matter if they're your brother, doesn't matter if they're on your team, doesn't matter if they're the random stranger that you brought to the game. Don't move, let them take care of it. The next rule we're going to cover is the bang bang safety rule. Now the bang bang safety rule is there for safety purposes. If you have a functioning gun and you have the drop on somebody within 20 feet from the sides or from the back, they are unaware that you are there, you can yell out, bang, bang, and that signifies that you have shot them. It's not a silent kill. It's not meant to be a silent kill. It's supposed to be just like you shooting your gun, only without shooting your gun. Now, if there's multiple opponents, 3, 4, 5, and you have the drop on all of them, you can still only shoot one of them. That bang bang only applies to one of those people. So I would suggest stopping what you're doing, letting them get a little bit more distance, getting out to that safe shooting distance, and then shooting them all at that point. If you bang bang one person in a group of 3, more than likely you're going to die as well.
Bang, bang. Hit.
Now we're going to cover the melee silent kill. This will be done with a knife or a sword or battle axe, anything other than a firearm. But it actually does have to be a weapon. You can't come up and just give them the old knife hand. It doesn't work. So with the melee weapon, there will be no stabbing. There will be no slashing, and there's definitely no throwing. The blade has to be flexible. There has to be proof that it is a plastic knife or a rubber knife. We don't want any real steel out here. Please don't come out here with your hunting knives. The next rule we're going to cover is parlay. Now, parlay gets a little bit tricky. It's when 2 combatants come at each other face to face, but they're within that 20-foot minimum engagement. You can't shoot each other, and you can't bang bang each other. You're just kind of stuck. So what you do is you call out parlay. Parlay, parlay. Hopefully the other person also calls out parlay, parlay. What you guys do at that point is you stand up, you turn back to back, you go 20 feet in either direction. You get reset, you yell reset, reset, ready, go. Start engaging again. While you're in parlay, if somebody shoots you that is not part of the parlay, just simply state to them, I'm in a parlay. Maybe they'll stop shooting at you. Hopefully they stop shooting at you. But when you get out and as soon as you are reset and ready to go back in, if somebody shoots you, you are dead. That's just the way that works. Sorry. We'll now be covering blind fire. Blind fire is one of those situations where we don't allow people that are blind to come out and play airsoft. Oh no, never mind. I'm wrong about that. Blind fire is a situation whereas if you cannot see where your gun is pointed, don't pull the trigger. So you're not going to hide behind a tree and point the gun around the tree and then pull the trigger. If you can't see where the BBs are going, don't shoot your gun. We don't want anybody shooting through brush. We don't want anybody shooting around a rock, because if somebody walks by and gets shot in the face at 2 feet, they're going to be very unhappy. And in turn, that's going to make your situation very unhappy. So please, don't blind fire. Grenades must be made of rubber, plastic, or foam. They can be homemade or they can be store-bought. Either way, they have to be approved by the council. So if you want to go home and take some duct tape and some foam and wrap it together into a ball, it might work, but it might not. Whatever you decide to work on, bring it to the council and have them approve it before you try using it in game play. Now with grenades, you're allowed 2 per life per spawn. So if you go out into the game and you use your 2 grenades and then you die, go back to respawn, you get your 2 grenades back and you can go back out and use them again. You do not get to use other people's grenades. If somebody throws a grenade and it's found underneath of a tree, well, you don't get to pick it up and put it in your pocket and then use it at your own free will. If it's not yours, don't use it. You wouldn't pick up a gun at respawn and use it without permission, would you? Yeah, I didn't think so. No grenade is permitted to emit smoke or spark or flame. So you can't come out here with a real smoke grenade if it's going to spark all over the place and potentially burn the field down. That'd be very bad for the environment. Grenades have a 15-foot kill radius. That means from the point where they have been thrown, hit the ground, from not moving, 15 feet from that point is where the kill radius is. Now, I know I told you earlier that you're not allowed to call other people's hits. Unfortunately, with grenades, sometimes you have to, because sometimes people don't actually know where the grenade has landed. I would recommend asking somebody that you have thrown the grenade at to check. Find the grenade, do a walkout, about 4 or 5 steps, and figure out who's all in that kill radius. They can then say, like, you've hit 1, you've hit none, you've hit all 5 of us, whichever the situation calls for. But then leave the grenade there. The person that has thrown it can be responsible for picking up their own grenades. If you have thrown a grenade and you're not real sure about where it has landed in correlation to the opponent, you could ask game control to come over and check it for you as well. That way you don't have to worry about giving out a position or letting the enemy know exactly where you guys are buried in. Say you're under a rock or under a tree or something like that. Also, being under a rock or under a tree, you might not have been killed by the grenade. If the tree is large enough or if the rock is large enough, it does provide a hard cover and you are protected. Now the rules for these are a little different. So with a tree, if you can wrap your arms around the tree and not touch your fingertips, you have been protected. If you're hiding behind a rock, the rock has to be equivalently the size of your body. It has to provide enough cover that even the smallest little piece of shrapnel can't get you. If you have a grenade that throws BBs out, if you are hit by a single BB, you are killed. But if you're still within that 15-foot blast radius, you're also killed. You don't have to just be hit by the BB, you would just need to be within that 15 feet. The cool thing about the BBs is it just has a little bit more of effect, makes it a little bit funner. If you notice that the grenade that has been thrown at you has some kind of action to it, like a thunder bee, but when it hits the ground, it doesn't pop or it doesn't blow up or it doesn't throw BBs, don't touch it. Just leave it be. Let the person who threw it come and pick it, collect it for themselves. So again, for safety purposes, while we're out here playing, we don't want anybody climbing trees. If there's buildings, we don't want anybody climbing up on top of the buildings. So everybody needs to be staying down at the 6 foot or below level. Now, if you're 6'3" like I am, that's kind of tough, but I don't have to play the game hunched over. I just have to not climb up on things. If there's a chair, you can stand on it. If there's a 2 foot tall table, you can stand on it. But stay out of trees, stay off the buildings. Try to keep your feet within 6 feet of the ground. Please keep all your real steel at home. Don't even bring it to the game. Don't leave it in your car. If you want to go hunting after the game, go back home and get it. Have somebody meet you out there after the game with your firearm. Don't bring real steel to the game. Airsoft guns look like real guns. And if you have a real gun and it gets mixed into everything, it could cause some serious problems. Please do not bring real steel to the game. Also, make sure you're staying hydrated during the summertime when our temperatures are 100, 110, 115 degrees. It's real easy for you to get out here and start having a really good time and then things to turn south. Make sure you've got water, make sure you've got Gatorade, bring yourself a couple of snacks for during the game or after the game. Make sure that you're being safe and taking care of your body. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or inquiries, please feel free to get a hold of the council. Talk to your team lead. Ask questions of other members of the community.
Yes, sir.
We got a problem. Somebody's not calling their hits.
You got a description?
Yeah, he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt with some bright green flowers, holding an AK with some carbon fiber.
So you're telling on yourself?
Damn it.